For most of the modern world, the desert near Hawara is silent and unremarkable. A flat expanse of dust and wind, broken only by scattered ruins and distant palm trees. Tourists pass through without stopping. Satellites glance over it without interest. Nothing on the surface suggests that this land once terrified kings, confused scholars, and challenged the limits of human memory. And yet, ancient writers insisted that beneath this quiet ground once existed the most complex structure ever built by human hands. Herodotus, the Greek historian, described a monument so vast that it made the pyramids seem insignificant by comparison, not because it rose higher into the sky, but because it stretched endlessly beneath the earth. He spoke of thousands of chambers, interconnected corridors, mirrored halls, and doors that led nowhere, a structure designed not to impress, but to overwhelm. Later Roman writers echoed the same account. Pliny, the elder, called it incomprehensible. Strabo claimed even its guides could not navigate it without assistance. Every description agreed on one detail: no one ever saw the entire structure. For centuries, historians dismissed these accounts as exaggeration. Ancient writers were known to embellish. Myths grew over time, memories distorted facts. The labyrinth, they said, was symbolic, or perhaps a partially collapsed complex misremembered as something larger. But there was a problem with that explanation. Too many independent sources described the same impossible thing, and none of them could explain why it vanished. No ruins, no debris field, no clear record of destruction, just silence, as if the structure had been swallowed whole by the earth. That silence lasted until Dr. Layla Ahmed began asking the wrong questions. Layla was not an archaeologist chasing legends. She was a geophysicist trained to trust data, patterns, and physical evidence. She specialized in subsurface mapping, the kind used to locate oil reservoirs and buried infrastructure. To her, the past was not a story, it was a signal. Her interest in Hawara began as a curiosity. Ancient descriptions spoke of a structure so massive that its underground sections alone should still leave a footprint beneath the soil. Stone that large does not simply disappear. Using high-resolution, ground-penetrating radar, Layla began scanning the Faiyum region. At first, the results were disappointing. Flood deposits, Nile silt, broken stone from centuries of quarrying, nothing that matched the legends. Then, during a late-night scan, the data changed. The radar signal returned shapes that were too precise to be natural. Long, straight voids intersecting at perfect right angles, large chambers arranged in repeating patterns, depths that extended far beyond known burial sites. Layla recalibrated, ran the scan again, then again. The results were identical. What lay beneath Hawara was not random, it was engineered. When she mapped the data in 3 dimensions, the image was unsettling. The underground space was not centralized like a tomb or temple. It was distributed, layered, and intentionally confusing. This was not architecture designed for worship. This was architecture designed to control movement. Layla submitted her findings to the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities, expecting urgency, debate, maybe even celebration. Instead, she received nothing. Weeks passed without acknowledgement. Then a response arrived, short, formal, final. Excavation denied. Access restricted. Further research prohibited. The document offered no explanation. At the bottom was a signature. Kamel El-Said. Within academic circles, El-Said was known as a gatekeeper, a man who approved restorations but delayed discoveries. He believed history should be protected from interpretation and interpretation from the public. Layla requested a meeting. It was denied. She appealed through official channels. Denied. Finally, a former colleague contacted her privately. His voice was low, cautious. "You don't understand," he said. "They already tried once." When she pressed for details, the line went silent. Later that night, another message arrived. No sender, just a sentence. Something happened the last time they went down. No report was ever published, no photos released, no explanation offered. Whatever occurred beneath Hawara had been erased from the official record. For Layla, this changed everything. If the structure were harmless, it would be excavated. If it were insignificant, it would be ignored. But fear created silence, and silence meant something real had been found. That was when she contacted Professor Harold Winston. Winston was a historian known for destroying myths. He publicly criticized exaggerated claims, ancient aliens, and speculative archaeology. If anyone would tell her she was wrong, it would be him. He reviewed the radar data in person. For a long time, he said nothing. Then he leaned back, removed his glasses, and exhaled slowly. "This isn't a myth," he said, "and it isn't exaggeration." "What is it?" Layla asked. "Suppressed history," Winston replied. He explained that ancient societies rarely erased monuments unless they feared them. Temples were repurposed, statues were toppled, but structures designed to confuse, overwhelm, or contain something dangerous were buried, flooded, or sealed. The labyrinth, he believed, was not destroyed by accident. It was intentionally removed from human memory. Together, they studied old maps, flood records, and quarry reports. Every piece of evidence pointed to the same conclusion. Over thousands of years, Nile floods deposited layers of silt, slowly burying the structure. Later, stone was quarried from above, breaking entrances but never exposing the core. Nature and human activity had collaborated to hide it. Or protect it. Official access was impossible. The site was monitored. Excavation permits were locked indefinitely. So Layla made a decision she would later regret. They would go down without permission. Using ancient quarry maps, they identified a Roman-era excavation site far from the main ruins. Abandoned, unstable, forgotten. If the labyrinth extended as far as the radar suggested, this quarry could provide indirect access. They hired 2 local laborers who asked no questions. Equipment was transporting at night. No lights, no radios, no digital signals. The desert did not resist them. The drill cut through layers of compacted Nile mud, each meter a step deeper into time. The air grew cooler, heavier. Then the sound changed. Not the dull resistance of stone, but a sharp metallic echo that vibrated through the shaft. Layla stopped the drill immediately. She cleared the debris by hand, brushing away thousands of years of sediment. The surface beneath was smooth, dark, polished. Diorite. Stone used only for structures meant to endure. As a small section gave way, cold air rushed upward, carrying a scent unlike anything above ground. Metallic, sterile, almost electrical. Layla felt it against her skin. This place was sealed. Preserved. Waiting. And for the first time since the radar scan, she felt something she could not measure. Fear. They descended into darkness, unaware that by breaking the seal, they were about to step into a structure that was never meant to be entered again. And whatever lay beneath Hawara had been waiting a very long time.